All right. So it looks like we've got everybody here today. Again, we want to thank you for taking time out of your busy work schedule to join us. We're going to be going over article reviews and talking about how we can create better articles so that we can get to the top of those search engines. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you now. We actually only had two article submissions for this webinar, which is fine because that actually is going to give me some time to go over some customers that are having great success and share with you some of the ideas and some of the things that they are doing. So we'll go through the articles that came in this week, and then we'll go from there. And again, as always, if you have any questions, you can use the webinar tool to ask your questions. And Kelly is with us today, our master of marketing, and she will be answering questions throughout the webinar. And then if there's any questions that are relevant to everybody, she may save those to the end of the webinar so that everyone can hear the answers to those questions. So we'll go ahead and get started today with the webinar and with the articles. The first article we have today is from Bobby Brewer, and he is from Prestige Floor and Carpet Care, actually out of Arizona. To tell you a little bit about Bobby, he's a great guy. He's been with us for probably, I'm guessing, about a year now, and his business is doing amazing. He does carpet cleaning, tile grout, and where he's found a lot of success is actually in the natural stone and the VCT flooring. So this article that he wrote and submitted is actually about tile and grout, so we'll go through that today. But he's definitely a very interesting business owner and a great client of ours. And he's a guy who is always willing to talk to other clients of ours. So if you have any questions for him, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions for you as well. Again, he's a wealth of knowledge, and his business is doing really well using the program. So we'll get to his article. So first off, right off the bat, the title. He has a very good title here. Tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's very specific. It's his top keywords. It's what we call top tier keywords. Remember, there's different levels of keywords. Top tier keywords would be tile and grout cleaning, carpet cleaning, carpet cleaner. If you're in the commercial cleaning business, it could be commercial cleaning, commercial cleaning services, office cleaning. Your top keywords. Those are the ones that when you first think of, like, what is someone going to put in the search engines to find my services? That's what we consider your top tier keywords. So again, for dentists, it's your dentist, dental office, dental practice, all the different top keywords. Then you have what would be your second tier keywords, or your more long tail keywords. And it's important to remember that the top tier keywords are very important because they do get a lot of traffic, but they don't get all the traffic. And that's why you'll hear us talking about using second tier keywords or long tail keywords, because those keywords actually get they may not get a lot of traffic individually like the top keywords for like carpet cleaning does. But if you add them up, a lot of times they actually get more traffic than your top tier keywords. So that's why your long tail keywords are very important. The other reason why long tail keywords are becoming more and more important is because people are starting to use their voice to search. With the new smartphones, with the iPhone and the Android phones, you have apps like Siri, you have Google Now, you have Cordova. These are all apps that you can ask your phone to do a search for you, and it will pull up results. Well, if you think about it, when you're talking to your phone, or you're just talking in general, odds are you're not going to say tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona. You may say, find me the best tile and grout cleaner in Scottsdale, Arizona, or find me a tile and grout cleaning company in Scottsdale, Arizona. So when we talk differently than we actually type when we're typing into the search engines. And since more and more traffic is coming from mobile devices, and more people are starting to use these voice search options, the long tail keywords are actually getting more and more traffic, which means they have more and more value to you as a business owner. So again, in this instance, Bobby's going after his very top keyword for tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a great title. You can see right off the bat, he starts off, he talks about his company, he gives his phone number there, and you can see he's got his keywords and his city state in there right away. This is the best tile and grout cleaners in Scottsdale, Arizona. There is no soap or residue left on your tile and grout in Scottsdale, Arizona. So he's got his keywords and city state in there again. And again, I want to reiterate how important it is to have your city and state and your keywords in the article multiple times. We've discussed this before, but I always like to bring it up. You've got to remember that the search engines, you're not dealing with a person, you're dealing with a computer. And computers, they aren't as intelligent as we are. They can't figure out things as easily as we can. So we kind of have to teach them in a linear way, in a very simple way. I relate it to like when you're teaching a dog. When you teach a dog to do a trick, it's repetition and it's the simplest way possible. You don't confuse them. You just do it over and over and over again, and you reward them for doing it right. The search engines are kind of the same way. You need to make it very easy, very simple for them to understand what you want to rank for. So in this instance, he wants to rank for tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, if the search engines are indexing this page, the first thing they're going to see is the URL, which will be tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona, on the end of his domain name. Then they're going to look at the title, which is tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona. So twice now he's told him what he wants to rank for. Now, as you go through the article, it's going to be looking for those same keywords or very similar keywords to confirm that the content you're providing should be ranked on the first page for those keywords. For, in this example, tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona. So Bobby's done a really good job. He's got that right in the beginning here. He's got a variation of it right there with tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale. As we go through the article, he uses some other keywords that he wants to rank for. Like you can see here, porcelain tile in Scottsdale, Arizona. And as we go a little bit farther down, he again is using his keywords, porcelain and ceramic tile and grout. And the article makes sense. If we were to read through the entire article, it's a great article. It's very informative, which is perfect. That's what you want to give your users is an article that they can read that's quality. The search engines, they can't really tell quality. They don't know how good an article is, whether it was written by a Pulitzer Prize winning writer or whether it was written by, a 8th grader. They can't really tell that. So when you're writing your articles, you're thinking of two audiences. One, you're thinking of the user, the visitor who's going to read it, and that's where you give them good information. The second thing, too, is you're thinking of the search engines, and that's where these keywords with your city and state are so important because that's what they're looking for. On a side note as well, when it comes to writing for a visitor, Bobby did a really good job here by giving bulleted or steps. Because when most people are reading online, they're not going to sit there and they're not going to read through the entire article. Usually what they'll do is they'll scan the article, they'll look for the highlighted stuff and the most important stuff, and they'll read through that very quickly. By giving, like what he does here, steps, that's very easy for them to focus in on that part and get some really good information out of the article. Bulleted points is another great way to do it. People have a tendency to scan down and go through bulleted points. It's just our minds are trained to do it. So if you can put bulleted points, you can put steps in there. That's a great way to make sure people are reading the most important part of your article. Again, as we're going through here, you can see he's got tile and grout in Scottsdale, AZ again, right there. And he's actually got it right here again, and he's got it right here again. So I think when I went through the entire article, he had his keywords or very similar keywords with his city-state in the article 6 times. Now, if we were to go and look at the word count for this article, you can see that it is 395 words. So almost a 400-word article, which is a great length. Again, we always tell you to shoot for between 200 and 500 words. So he's done a very good job in that. He's right in between there, right in the middle, smack dab. So he's done a very good job there. Now, would I suggest using your keyword city state in the article 6 times? Probably not. That might be a little too much for Google, because there's a very fine line. Google's looking for content that's relevant, and they want to make sure that the content matches what you're telling them it's about. But if you go too overboard with your keywords, they call that keyword stuffing. And at that point, it starts to detract a little bit from what you're doing. So in this case, with Bobby's article, I might have cut out the, gone down from 6 to maybe 4 times. So we usually say, 2 to 3 times. Maybe go up to 4 if you're if you're closer to the 400 word count. Another way you could look at it is, for every 100 words, I should probably have my keywords and my city state in there once. So if I write a 400 word article, I could probably fit it in there 4 times. But just don't go too excessive. Don't go overboard. Google doesn't like extremes, so they want you to be, in the middle range there. So my one suggestion to Bobby on this would probably be maybe cut out a couple, maybe 2 versions of his keywords and city state in this article, because he's got it in there 6 times. So if he goes down to 4, that'll be really good. Again, I love the steps that he's got here. It makes it very easy for someone to scan the article and get some good information. And then he talks about his services again a little bit more. He upsells his services to them, talking about how if the grout is discolored, then and is past restoring, you can stain it. So he's talking about additional services that he offers, which is great. And then again, he's got some keywords down here with his city state. And in his last paragraph, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. So in this last paragraph, there is probably one change I would make, because the one thing we are missing in this article is we're not seeing a link yet. And that could just be because I know Bobby uses links in his articles because he does a really good job. So it's probably just that he didn't put the link in the document that he sent us. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here that he was going to have a link in here. But I would probably, where I would do it if it was me, is I would try to get it in this last paragraph here. So it says, once you meet with Prestige Floor and Carpet Care, your search is over for, and what I would probably do here is put the keywords tile and grout cleaning in Scottsdale, AZ. And then I would take this and I would make it a link. And again, in this document, we're using Google Docs, so it's a little bit different, but basically you do the very similar action in the post place. You're going to highlight the keywords with your city and state. You're going to click the link button, and then you're going to put it in there. So in this case, for Bobby, it would be, I think it's Prestige Floor and carpetcare.com. And then he could pick a certain page that he wants to go to and link it to that. But you can see now I've got a link in there. Now, the interesting thing on this article is he's also talking about other services he has right here. So since I changed it, I need to fix that sentence for him and say we also provide natural stone honing, polishing, sealing, epoxy. So you can see here he's got a list of a lot of other keywords for other services that he provides. This is not a bad idea, but what I would suggest is if you're going to do this, don't do it on every single article. And the reason why is because you're trying to focus this article for a very specific keyword, and you're trying to rank for those keywords. And by throwing a bunch of other keywords in there, it may diminish the result that you get off of the main keyword you're going after. However, from a user perspective, from a visitor perspective, it's not a bad thing to say, hey, we also provide these other services in case you're interested. So my suggestion is to kind of get a good balance here. I would just do it occasionally add in towards the end of your article, something like he has here. We also provide natural stone honing, polishing, sealing, epoxy filling, and all these great things. And so if you occasionally do that, Google's not going to penalize you for that. And they're not going to ignore it either. Because, if you repeat something too much, Google's going to ignore it if it becomes too repetitious. So overall, for Bobby, this is a great article. He did an amazing job with it. Again, if we just hit the highlights of it, great title, great content. He's got his steps or bulleted points in here, and he's got his keywords throughout. And again, the only corrections or only changes I would make on this is one, I would maybe get rid of a couple of the keywords with the city and state. I think he might have gone overboard just a teeny bit on that. And then add in the link, obviously. But other than that, this is a great article, and I'm sure this article is going to rank really well in the search engines. So that's it for Bobby. We'll go ahead and go on to the next one. And the next one is from Rob. And Rob is from Master Carpet Cleaners. And he's over in Evergreen, Colorado. So again, Rob, thanks for submitting this to us. I'm glad that we could take some time and look at this for you. And hopefully our feedback is helpful. So first off, we'll start with the title. His title is Free Carpet Health Exam, courtesy of Master Carpet Cleaners, Evergreen, CO 80439. Now, let's just take a look at that for a second here. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to do a word count on it. And let's see, 12 words, 68 characters. Characters with spaces, 79. So what that tells me is he's pushing the limits of the URL, because again, let me show you real quick on a, let's look at an article from a customer, and you can see right here on this customer, Superior Disaster, we're going to be talking about them a little bit today. You can see their title is Water Damage Restoration Specialist, Maricopa, AZ. Now, if you look up here in the URL is Water Damage Restoration Specialist, Maricopa, AZ.html. We do that on purpose because, again, we're trying to teach the search engines what we want to rank for. So it shows up in the URL, it shows up in the page title, and then throughout the keywords and in the coding that we do in the back end of the page for you. Now, the reason I show you this is because if your titles get too long, there's only so much that we can put up here in the URL without the search engines penalizing us. So it's only going to be able to go so far. So in this case, this is a little bit longer title. So I would probably shorten it down a little bit. Now, again, if you need it to be a longer title, that's okay. What's going to happen is that it's going to cut off the end of whatever the writing is. And I don't know if I can find one in here. Let's see. Oh, here's a really long one right here. So let's take a look at this one. Okay, you can see how to choose the best water, fire, and mold restoration service company in Chandler, AZ. Okay, you can see up here how to choose the best water, fire, and mold, RE, and it cuts it off. So the rest of those keywords didn't get in there. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that this URL isn't helping us as much as it probably should because it doesn't have our keywords and our city state in it. So if we go back here and we look at this one, what you want to do is if you're going to use a longer title, you want to make sure that your keywords and your city and state are towards the very beginning of that title so that it will show up in that URL. Because that's just one more little bonus point that you're going to get with the search engines. So let's look at this one. So on this one, I would probably make it a little bit shorter. And I'll show you the way I'm going to do it. The second thing is we've got, Rob has his company name in the title. Now I've seen a lot of customers do this, and this is my opinion, but I don't think you necessarily have to do that. And the reason why is because It's your article. It's being posted on your website. It's going out to your social media sites. So most likely the people who are seeing this are going to know your company name. Or if it's a search, if it's the search engine, Google's going to know your name too, based on the URL that it's finding it off of. And the second point to that is most likely if someone does a search for your company name in your area, you're going to come up anyways on the first page of Google. So my preference is I don't necessarily put the company name in the title because that's not a keyword that I have to fight for my own company name to get on the first page of Google. So I would rather focus on keywords that I'm fighting for to get on the first page of Google in the title versus my own company name. If you do want your company name in it, put it towards the end so that you get your main keywords in your city state towards the front of the title. So now let's look at this title. The title is Free Carpet Health Exam, courtesy of Master Carpet Cleaners, Evergreen, Colorado, 80439. Just looking at this, my first impression is that this would actually rank probably very well for the keywords free carpet health exam, but there's probably not a ton of traffic out there for free carpet health exam. I'm not saying that there isn't any traffic. There may be some traffic out there, and you would definitely capture it with this article. But if I was trying to maximize this article, I might choose some different keywords to go after. So, and again, you could write this article with this one and get ranked for those keywords, and that would be great. And then you could write a second article where you use the keywords that I'm going to suggest. But I'm trying to show you the very best way that I can to write an article. So I'm going to kind of correct this one. But again, always understanding that as you write more and more articles and you're trying to come up with more and more new titles, you're going to have to go after longer keywords and more obscure keywords in your titles. So I'm going to improve this one. But again, I'm not saying that I wouldn't use this one ever. I'm just saying that if I had my choice and I hadn't used these keywords already, I would use them in this article. So what I would change here is I would probably change this to free carpet cleaning, cleaning audit. And then what I would probably do is delete that out and say in Evergreen, Colorado, 80439. And if you really want your business name in it, add it in the end right here. So you could add it in as by Master Carpet Cleaners. So if I were to rewrite the title, that's probably what I would do. Because again, what I really want is I want this part to show up in my title. And I want it to show up in my URL. Now, as far as free carpet cleaning audit, that's probably a keyword that gets a little more traffic. You could change that out with like a free carpet cleaning assessment, free carpet cleaning review, whatever works best for you. If exam is something that you market and people know it in your area, then you can use exam. But again, it's an opinion, but I think there's a little more traffic out there for like some of these keywords. Or you could completely change the title and it could be a question. Like you could do, can I clean my old carpets in Evergreen, Colorado? Or can I save my old carpet in Evergreen, Colorado? Because probably if a person's looking for a carpet cleaning audit, it's probably because their carpet's older and they're afraid that cleaning won't do anything, that it's not going to solve the problem. They're going to have to replace, So another one could be, do I need to replace my carpets in Evergreen, Colorado? And then you could talk about, no, you just get an audit or an examination here and you'll be good to go. We can tell you what you need to do. So anyways, that's the change I would probably make to the title. Now, other than that, he's got great content in here. He's asking questions. He provides great information. And again, it's not bad to put your company name in the content of the article. That's absolutely fine. So feel free to do that. He's got his phone number in there, which I think is great. Always good to put any way that they can contact you. And again, he has done the steps of what they're going to do. So that's something that someone's going to hone in on. They're going to read that, probably read that more than anything else in the article, which is great because he's explaining what he's going to do for them. And then down here, you can see he's got serving evergreen, conifer, golden Colorado area for over 25 years. That's not a bad way to do it. What we are missing though is we're missing our keywords again with our city and state so that we can do that link. So we could do that right here if we wanted, or the other option is we can use it right down here. So we could say to get your free carpet cleaning audit in Evergreen CO. And in this case, he used the 80439. So we'll go ahead and add that in there. 80439. Call this number or book online to schedule an appointment. So what we would do is we would take these keywords and we would do a link. So again, I'm trying to remember just off the top of my head. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but he would, he could link this to his website. And whatever it may be. I think it's master. I don't know. I can't remember. Sorry, Rob. I can't remember your URL exactly. I know you have a couple different ones. So, but you would just link this, and then we'll just put in a URL just so it shows that it's a link right now. But there we go. So I would link that, and that would be the end. Now, again, remember when you're doing the hyperlinks, you want to link into your website. So you can either link to the home page, but you want to make sure you're linking to a relevant page. So for example, if this one's about, a carpet cleaning audit, if I have a page on my website where I talk about what a carpet cleaning audit is, I can link to that page, or I can just link to my carpet cleaning pages on my website. You can also link to other articles that you've posted as long as they're relevant, or you can link to videos that you've posted that are relevant. So you want to continually link to different parts on your site that are relevant to what the article is about. So the other thing I would maybe suggest on this article is just getting the keywords in here at least one more time. So let's look and see where we could do that. Right here, we could do a carpet examination. As part of the carpet, we can change this to carpet cleaning audit in Evergreen CO. And again, we'll grab that 80439. We will. So now I've got those keywords into this article a second and third time now. So that's really all that I would do on this article. Everything else looks really good. We'll talk really quick about the zip code here. It's not a bad idea to use zip codes. All you're doing is you're helping Google determine and narrow the search in a little bit farther. So for example, if you put a zip code in your articles and you focus on a zip code in your titles, you're going to show up faster in that zip code. That doesn't mean you're not going to show up without the zip code, because you will. But if you're trying to target a specific area, putting the zip code in works really well. For example, if I am, like we talked about Bobby Brewer earlier, he does the natural stone polishing. Scottsdale, Arizona is a big place for natural stone. There's tons of travertine, tile. So, and it's, real high-end homes. There's areas that have, multi-million-dollar homes. So if Bobby wants to target a specific zip code that has multi-million-dollar homes, he can do that just by putting in the zip code to his articles and videos. And then Google is going to target that article or that video to that zip code. And the chances of it showing up when someone in that zip code searches is really good. So you don't always have to use zip codes, you'll get results without them. But if for some reason you want to target a service to a certain zip code, absolutely go ahead and put that zip code in there, because it will help Google know that that's what you want to rank for. So again, overall, a really good job on this article, Rob. Like I said, just a few little changes, and they're minor changes, and they're suggestions. You could have posted the article the way it was, and it would have been a really good article. This is just ways I think that you might be able to improve it a little bit, and get it up to the top of the search engines a little faster. So again, I want to thank Bobby, and I want to thank Rob for both submitting their articles to us today. We really appreciate it, and hopefully that was helpful for you. Now I want to kind of share some more article stuff with you. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to go to one of our customers, Superior Disaster, and take a look at their articles. Now, Superior Disaster is a restoration company. They're located here in Arizona, and most of you probably don't know this, but Arizona is full of restoration companies. You would be shocked. I think I was talking to someone the other day, and they told me that there are 400 restoration companies in the Phoenix area. So that's a ton of competition. They're everywhere. Now, these guys are clients of ours. They're using the Post Place, and they're actually a pretty new business. I think they've been in business just a couple of years. So they really had a lot of competition, and a lot of ground to catch up on. In fact, I was talking to Jason Riggs, one of the owners, and he told me before he started marketing with the Post Place, he checked his Google searches, and he just did a search for one of his top keywords, which was water damage in Gilbert, Arizona, and he went all the way back to page 97 in Google. So that would be like 970 spots that until he found his website for the first time. So 97 pages. So you can imagine the kind of competition that he's got in this area. Anyways, they've done a really good job with their articles and videos, and it's really helped them in their ranking. So I wanted to kind of show you what they've done. And this will give you a good example of how you can do very similar things in your own articles and videos. So as you can see, they've got tons of articles and videos on their website. They've been pushing the articles really hard. And we're just going to take a look at some of these articles. So let's take a look at, let's see. Let's go back. I guess we'll take look at some of their newer ones. There is one thing that I'm going to point it out. And, they're doing an amazing job, but I'm going to point out one correction that I think they need to make. And they haven't done this before, but they just recently made this mistake, which was, you can see here, water damage restoration in Chandler, AZ. What is water damage restoration in Chandler, AZ? Exact same title. We never suggest that you use the same title. Now, you'll notice this is actually part 1 and part 2 of an article. So you can see, they've got a great article here. We'll go through the article real quick. So the keywords: what is water damage restoration in Chandler, Arizona? Great title. They've got their keywords, as you can see, throughout the article: water damage restoration in Chandler, Arizona. You'll notice that they like to bold their keywords. We've had a lot of customers that have done that and that are having success. Now, I can't say to you empirically that bolding your keywords is going to result in higher rankings, because Google would never tell us that that's true or not true. But it does make them stand out, and I've seen very successful customers do it. So I think you could go either way on that. But again, you can see they've got their keywords with their city, state. And then down here, again, they've got their keywords with their city, state, and they've got a link. If we click on that link, it's going to take you right to their water damage page. So you can see here, again, this is a very relevant page that's loaded with great content, and is related to their water damage and the article that they wrote. Another thing that they did here is, you can see they put a picture in, which is great. If you can, I always suggest throwing a picture into your articles. It just makes them a little more pleasing to the eye. And depending on what you do, your business, whether you're a carpet cleaner, a residential cleaner, commercial cleaner, a chiropractor, a dentist, if you can find pictures that are like before and afters, I highly suggest you share those. Um, Especially like with, for example, carpet cleaning. If you take a picture of a carpet that has a terrible stain on it, and then you have the after picture where the stain's just invisible, it's gone, that right there is going to convert people more than probably anything you can write on the page, them seeing your work. Same thing with like a dentist. If you have a picture of like someone's mouth before and someone's mouth after, that you've corrected something, some cosmetic dentistry, again, that's going to convert people. So anytime you can use pictures and you can use before and after pictures, please use them in your article, because as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And it really is true when it comes to converting visitors into customers. The other thing that they did on their article is you can see that they use the opt-in form, which is great. And they just put in here, enter your information below to receive a free inspection. So they're just offering a free inspection, which is not a major thing, but it's an opt-in, and it's information that they can gather from a client, and they can then follow up and contact that client. And I can tell you that they actually do get a lot of people who opt in through these opt-ins to get free inspections, to get more information about their services. So definitely, I would suggest using the opt-in feature of the post place. And, again, you can put in specials, you can put in discounts, whatever you want to put in this spot right here to entice them, to give you their information. Definitely do it. So again, this is a great article. We'll go back real quick and I'll show you the second article. Again, he's got a great article here. He's got, the only problem here is that they use the same title over again. All they needed to do was change that title a little bit, and that would have worked out great for them. So that's one thing that I'll be addressing with them to make sure that they don't make that mistake again. And you can see, again, they've got keywords throughout. They've got their phone number. They've got their services. They've got, let's see, we have the local experts on what you should do if you have a flood in Chandler, Arizona. And again, this one's going back to their water damage page. Again, it's fine to link back to your main pages, but I also suggest that you link to other inner pages, because that link is going to guide Google to those other pages. Or any of the search engines to those other pages. So if you want to not just link to your main pages that they probably have already indexed, you want to link to some of your deeper pages, which could be articles or videos that are relevant to this article, to make sure that Google's following them and indexing them. So again, this is a great article. The only issue was just the title here. If we go to videos, they have just started doing some videos. Again, they've done some really good titles: Dangers of Asbestos, Affordable Asbestos Experts in Phoenix, Arizona, Mold Inspection Services in Queen Creek. So you can see, they've got their keywords. And even on this one, like right here, you can see asbestos removal in Gilbert, Arizona. Those are the main keywords they want to go after. Then they have, what is asbestos? So even though they may have a title that is asking a question, they're making sure that they're getting their keywords in the very beginning. So asbestos testing in Phoenix, how do you know you have an asbestos problem? So always focusing on getting those keywords in the very beginning. Now, let's look at some of the results for them. So I just did some basic searches in their area. They service the whole Phoenix area. But you can see here, this is a search for water damage, Gilbert, Arizona. If you remember, I said before they started with us, they were on page 97. That was the first time they saw themselves on Google. And it was on page 97 for these keywords, water damage, Gilbert, Arizona. If we come down and look at the results, you can see they are right here in the maps. And so they're in the number 2 in the maps. And one of the things they've done, they've got some Google reviews. That's really important. You want to get reviews. They have a Google Plus page, which they're posting to, which is really important. And then if we move a little bit farther down, you can see here they are, number 1 below the maps. And that's their main website there. And if you come down a little bit farther, you can see right there that they've got one of their videos as well on the first page of Google. So it looks like they've got 3 positions on the first page of Google for a keyword that probably 5, 6 months ago, they were on page 97. So that's why it's so important, to be posting consistently and making sure you're writing the articles correctly so that they will rank and they will push your website up. Now, some of these keywords, for example, water damage, Mesa, Arizona, that keyword here in Arizona, if you want to do pay-per-clicks, the paid advertising up here, people are paying $90 a click for that keyword. So the competition is crazy high. And the other thing is, if you're paying $90 a click, your budget's going to blow out pretty quickly. So if you can get in one of these top spots for that keyword and get that traffic organically, every time someone's clicking on you, you're saving $90, in that case for that keyword. So that's why the organic ranking is so important, is, for those killer keywords like water damage, by being on the first page in the organic 3 or 4 times, you're saving a ton of money. These other guys, every time they get clicked, they're paying, $30 to $90. Whereas Jason's company, Superior Disaster, is getting clicks for free. So we'll take a look at some of the other keywords real quick here. You can see this keyword is water restoration, Gilbert, Arizona. And you can see, again, right here. Another thing that we do offer our clients is we do PPC management as well. So Jason and them actually have a ad running in the PPC for keywords. But, they've got that one there. So they've got the map. They're in the number 2 spot there. And again, they're in the number 1 spot right there for that keyword for Gilbert. Now we'll just pop through to another one, a different service. Asbestos abatement is another one of their big services. It's a big issue out here in some of the reservations. So you can see for asbestos abatement, which is the biggest keyword for that service, they're number 1, they're number 2, they're number 3. And we'll go ahead and let's just click on one of these so we can take a look at the content there. So here's an article. It's one of their articles on the first page of Google. And you can see, again, asbestos testing in Gilbert, Arizona. They've got their keywords in here several times throughout the article. And they've got a link. This one actually just goes right to their homepage, asbestos-related remediation services. And they've got asbestos testing in Gilbert right there. So again, this article, it's a good article. It's on the first page. Let's take a look at this one real quick and see. It may actually be, nope, it's a different article. So you can see here, again, asbestos testing in Gilbert, Arizona. They've got the picture there. They've got their keywords, asbestos removal throughout here. And then, of course, they've got a nice link at the bottom with Gilbert, Arizona in it. And it goes to their asbestos abatement page. So it's interesting. The reason I show you this is I wanted to show you that what's ranking. It's not their homepage that's ranking for these keywords. It's their articles or their videos that are ranking. So they literally have the top 3 spots just because they wrote the articles off of asbestos. We'll do one more real quick one for you, and then we'll go over to questions. Again, this one is flood damage in Gilbert, Arizona. This is a very popular keyword. You can see, again, they're hedging their bets, and they're doing PPC, and they've got the number 3 spot there. And then if we look down here, they've got the number 1 spot, the number 2 spot. Again, they created a video. And that one is right here in the number 3 spot, the video. So they've got 1, 2, and 3 on the page. So the first 3 spots and one of the PPCs. So they're 4 out of like 10 on there. So again, and if you look at it, if we were to look at it again, you're going to see that it is articles that are on the first page, not their homepage, but their actual articles. And again, they've done everything right. They've got a great title. They've got their keywords throughout the article, and they've got their link which goes to a relevant page. So it really is, that simple. And this is just an example of one of our customers that went from nowhere um, in the search engines, well, not nowhere, on page 97, all the way up to they literally are on the first page of Google for not just in Gilbert, but for hundreds of different terms now. Um, and different keywords in different cities that they service. And it's all based on the articles and videos that they're posting and making sure that they're doing them exactly right, that they're following kind of the recipe that we give you guys. And again, this is not an easy industry. They've got over 400 competitors, and you're talking about these guys are bidding on jobs that could be, $250,000 jobs. So it's they're not fighting over chump change. These are real big jobs that they're going after, and so just imagine what you can do in your industry. But again, I just wanted to kind of give you an example of one of the customers that's doing a very good job. That's probably very similar to your business. Probably had maybe had no exposure, no visibility, and inside of like 6 months, they've literally started to dominate the first page of Google, and they're going up against companies that have been around for 20 years. And been on the first page of Google for a very long time. So, I mean, these are companies that have been there a very long time, some of these guys here. So for them to come out of nowhere and to take over that first page of Google and land 3-4 spots is amazing. And it's really just based on the product. So again, if you guys have any questions on your articles, please submit them to Kelly right now and we can answer those questions. We'll turn the time over to her to let us kind of go through any questions you guys have.
Hi, Troy. Yep, we do have a couple of questions. Christopher wants to know how close to the end of the article should the link be added?
Oh, Chris, that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. You'll notice on the articles that we've kind of looked at here, I always suggest that you put the link towards the very bottom of the article. Let's see if we can find a good one here for you. I think one of these had the link at the bottom. Okay, and the reason why that I say the link should be towards the very bottom of the article is you have to understand how the search engines work. Again, this is a computer, it's a server that's indexing this page. And I'll actually show you guys what the server sees. So if I go like this is what the server sees. It doesn't see your page the way you see the page. This is what it's going to see. And I'm going to show you exactly what it looks at. It's going to look at right there. What's that title? It's going to look at the title right here, our keywords there. It's going to look at what are the keywords here. And then it goes through this coding and it starts looking for the keywords. Now, you'll notice that in here, there's some links. Like this is a link for an image. These kind of links, they're going to ignore because that's just saying it's a file. But as we go through, you can see the article actually starts right here in this coding. And it goes down to right there. This is the actual content that we're looking at. This content right there is this part of all of this coding on the website. Now, you'll notice as they go through this coding, they're going to hit a link. And it's literally like this, a link. So at that point, the search engines have a choice. They can follow the link and go to whatever page you're directing them to, or they can continue down the page and continue to index what's on this page. So the reason why I say you put it at the bottom is because if this link, think of it as a door. If this link is towards the top of the article, maybe right up in this area, you're offering the search engines a door to leave the page before they've even indexed the content on the page. And that's why you don't want to do that. You don't want to open a door for them that they can leave before they've read and indexed the rest of your content. Because if they don't index it, then it's not going to give you much value. So if you put the link at the bottom, like you see here, then there's a very good chance that the search engines are going to index every one of these words before they hit that link. Now they're going to hit the link, and they may choose to leave and not index this last sentence there, and that's okay because they've got the majority of the page. So I always suggest keep your links towards the very bottom, like in the last paragraph, so that you make sure that they index as much of the article as possible.
A follow-up question to that, Troy, is if they go back and add links to the article after it's been published, will that negatively affect their rankings?
No, it will not. So if you go back after it's been published and you make changes to the article, it won't negatively affect it. One thing to remember, though, is we don't necessarily know exactly when Google or Bing or Yahoo is going to come in and index the page. So if you post an article and you're like, oh man, I really should have done this, go in and make the change as quickly as possible after you've posted it so that that change can be found by the search engines. Because we literally have customers. Most websites get indexed every 30 days or so, especially if they're not adding any new content. But with the search engines, when you're adding new content daily, they'll literally start visiting your website on a daily basis to look for new content. So a lot of our customers will get visited every single day by Google. So that's why I say if you want to make a change, make it quickly so that Google will pick it up the very first time. Because they will come back and they will index pages that have been changed recently. And we actually, we won't get all the technical side of it, but we actually let the search engines know. Like if you go to a page and change, that's been up for a year and you change it, make some changes to it, we actually let them know that there's been some changes to it recently so that they can come back and re-index it. But it's always best to get everything in there right on that first index if possible, because that's when your best shot is for the rankings. But you can go in and you can correct it and change it a little bit later, and Google will eventually find those changes. So it shouldn't adversely hurt you if you go back and make changes. But so like if, for example, if what you're asking is, can I add some links towards the top of my article later on? You can. I would just wait a while so that they've indexed the whole page first before you add that link in.
Great. Going back to when you were showing the rankings for Superior Disaster, someone wants to know, how do you get on the map section in Google?
Okay, that's a very good question. The Maps is a very interesting part of Google. It's gone through a lot of changes, and Google's trying very hard to prevent people from manipulating the maps. And unfortunately, depending on your industry, if you don't have a physical address where you run your business out of, it gets very difficult. If you take care of a service area, and that's where carpet cleaners and residential cleaners can run into some issues with the maps because you service an area, people don't come to your business. So when it comes to the maps, there's not a lot that you can actually tweak in order to manipulate or affect your rankings. There's only a few things. If you've gone into your maps and checked it out, there's only a couple of things you can do. And I'll go over those real quick. One of the biggest things you can do is, well, obviously you want to make sure your map is verified, that you've verified the address and you've put the PIN code in so that it has a chance to show up, because unverified maps they're eventually just going to get deleted. So you want to make sure your map is verified. The next thing you want to do is make sure you filled everything out in the map. So, if you've any information about your business, your hours of operation, all that kind of information you want to put in there, and make sure it's complete. And you can kind of put in your keywords as well, kind of in your descriptions and stuff, but you can't go too crazy. The next thing you can do is you want to focus on reviews. So you can see, like in this case, Superior Disaster has 3 Google reviews. You can see EHS has 13 Google reviews, so they're doing really well. But you'll notice it's not necessarily like reviews isn't the end all. If you have the most reviews, you're not going to be on the top of the page. Like you can see, Carpet Medic down here has 19 reviews, but he's below Superior Disaster, who has 3 reviews. So reviews isn't the end all when it comes to the maps, but it definitely is one of the factors that can help you. So I highly suggest, go out there and get as many reviews as you can, from valid customers. Um, you definitely want to do that. Get as many as you can, because it is one of the factors they look at, is getting those positive reviews. The other thing is making sure that you have the Google Plus page, that you can see right here. We're going to go ahead and let's see. I'll click on that. And we'll take a look at it at Superiors. So you can see they've got their Google Plus page set up. They've got some followers. They've had quite a few views on their Google Plus. But the biggest thing that's helping them when it comes to the maps is this tab right there, which is posts. One of the great things about the post place is that you can have the post place post to your Google Plus page. As you can see with Superior here, every time they post, it's showing up on their Google Plus. And look at how much activity they've got going on here. I mean, they've got tons of activity from their posts. You can also upload photos. They've got a couple photos uploaded here. That's a good thing to do. And again, the About Us, here's the information that you can provide, but it's not a whole lot. So really, where you can cause the most effect is by posting and having it go to your Google Plus. We'll go back real quick here, and we'll just take a look at some of the competitors here that have a Google Plus page. Let's go here. Serve Pro, maybe of Gilbert. You can see they really haven't filled out much. They've got their basic business information. They do have a lot of views, but they don't have very many followers. If we go to their posts, they have no posts. So eventually, over time, that's going to hurt them. What's probably saving them right now is that they are, and we'll go back here real quick and I'll show you the map again, the map section. Remember, the maps is also based on location. So Google decides who's the most relevant, who's the most pertinent. You can look at this map over here and you can kind of see A is right here, C is right there. So Google's actually kind of liking this area right here. In that area. So your location matters, but really when it comes to what can you do to affect it, there's only make sure it's verified, get as many positive reviews as you possibly can on Google reviews as you possibly can, and then make sure that you're posting, that your posts are going to your Google Plus page, and those things will really help you move up. Now I'm going to also throw the caveat out there that the maps is becoming more and more difficult. Maps is one of those things that Google messes with the most. We've seen the most changes in the maps over the years, and you don't want to rely your business solely on the maps. In fact, that's one of the main reasons why we built the post place, is because everybody and a lot of our customers were focused on this map area, and if they were in the top 10, their business was doing well. But if for any reason Google decided to bump them down, it really hurt their business. That's one of the reasons why we built the post place, because we decided, based on the way Google is messing with the maps, constantly changing it and mixing it up, you've got to rank organically to make sure you stay on that first page. And get as many spots on there as possible. So again, the maps are important, and you want to do the work you can to get up there and to rank. But what's really going to matter is getting in those organic listings as well, because once you get those spots, it's going to last a lot longer. My other big concern with the maps is that Google has actually already tested in 2 different cities paid positioning in the maps. And that, to me is a scary thing. I mean, if you think about it, where does Google make their money? They make their money off of this section right here, the paid ads, and this section over here, the paid ads. So logically, what's their next move to make more money? Well, start selling positions in here. And they've actually already tested it in 2 different cities, and they have not rolled it out, beyond that. They just did a small test. But my concern is if they're testing it, eventually it's going to roll over to that, which means that, these top spots may be paid spots where you're paying for every click, just like you are paying for every click up here. So again, another reason why you want to get your maps the best you possibly can, but focus in the organic section, focus in the free section with your articles and videos. Hopefully that helps answer your question.
Great. We have one more question. David wants to know, can your articles and videos have the same titles?
Okay, David, that's a very good question. So you technically they could have the same. I don't necessarily suggest that. I think that if you can change it up a little bit, then do it. So for example, I might write an article that is, if we look at, we come back over here. Like again, I don't like that these two articles have the very same title. I'm going to talk to them about that and change that. Now, could they have a video with the very same title? Potentially they could, but if it was me, I would just make a small change to either the article or the video title. So for example, on this one right here, water damage and restoration in Chandler, Arizona, if I wanted to do a video on that, I would just change it to affordable water damage and restoration in Chandler, Arizona, or professional water damage and restoration in Chandler, Arizona. Just changing that one word is going to make a big difference when it comes to the search engines. Because you always run into the potential of, even though it's a video page and an article page, if it has the same title, Google may say, duplicate, and then kind of devalue it. So for me, I like to play it safe, and I would rather just change one little word in the title to make it completely different. So that would be my suggestion. Play it safe and just change one little word in there.
Those are the only questions that we have.
All right, perfect. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining the webinar today. We really appreciate it. We love working with all of you, and you guys are doing great jobs on your articles. We're seeing a lot of great success coming from our clients, and we appreciate you coming here to learn because we really want to help you in any way we possibly can to be as successful as you possibly can with your business. So if there are any questions you have that you think of after the webinar, please email those over to us. Kelly will be sending out an email with some information about the webinar. We'll also take the webinar and put it up on support.ontoplocal.com so that if you want to go back and watch it at a later date, you can always watch this webinar again at a later date. So again, thank you, and hope you guys have a sensational day.